literature I have been reading since last about 2 years and quite intensively, maybe 2 to 3 hours a day. My bedroom, my clinic, my drawing room, all studded with books, and you can see some of those books there. Each is highlined, underlined, flagged, and marked. Very difficult, and very powerfully written, And I think it's my privilege that I can share some of my understanding and ignorance with all of you. Why peace I have selected as a topic? Because I am very restless inside, like each one of you. The monkey mind never lets you sit and work with concentration. So I thought peace may be a very important uh, solution to our day-to-day working. But when I started reading about peace, I realized that it is really powerful. And you'll be amazed what Mother has written. The same thing is being written in Gita. I have not read much of Gita, though I have got a lot of Gitas I have purchased recently. You won't believe that couple of days ago, while I was preparing for this talk, I went to Chinmayan Swami's mission in somewhere near Saket Nagar to purchase his Gita, because my father told me his Gita is very lucidly written. So everything is here. Let us see how much I can convey. Now, why peace is powerful? And these are the definitions given by Aurobindo, Sri Aurobindo. If something has to be truly done, it is in peace, silence, and quietness. Second definition he has given is force works, the force of Brahman, it works in a quiet and peaceful mind. In peace and silence, the eternal manifests. The quieter you are, the stronger you become. In peace, you hear the voice of soul. And one last sentence is, a restless working is an illusion. Mother says it's an empty agitation. So let us go through this. If something has to be truly done, it is in peace, silence, and quietness. In peace, in silence, and in quietness, the world was built. And each time that something is to be truly built, it is in peace and silence and quietness, it must be done. Mother says it's ignorance to believe that it is ignorance to believe that you must run from morning to night and labor at all sorts of futile things in order to do something for the world. This running is futile. It reflects ignorance of the mind. The second important definition is force works in a quiet and peaceful mind. The important thing is to get rid of the habit of invasion of troubling thoughts. Very difficult. I am troubled by invading thoughts. I have been doing Maharshi's meditation. I was with him for a month in Holland. Then he sent me to America for a month. I have delivered lectures on Vedas. But let me tell you, nothing changed inside till I started reading Aurobindo's literature, which changed me. And it was amazing. Probably everything was being prepared for me. I went to Divine Society, Rishikesh. I went to Vivekananda Ashram, Kanyakumari, visited Maharshi Yogi in Holland for a month. But nothing changed in me, all superficial, till I came in contact with this literature, which changed me completely. So much so that one of my brothers who takes away one of these magazines, मैं उसको दो दिन phone करते कि भैया वो वापस ला के दे दो मुझको. And you will not believe I have got duplicate copies. Lest one is lost, I'll keep one more. So it's very precious literature. The important thing is to get rid of the habit of invasion of troubling thoughts, wrong feelings, confusion of ideas, and unhappy movements. These disturb the nature and cloud it and make it difficult for the force to work. When the mind is quiet and at peace, the force can work more easily. I will talk about what is this force in the next slides. And this is also wonderfully quoted by Aurobindo. In peace and silence, the eternal manifests. Allow nothing to disturb you, and the eternal will manifest. Have perfect equality in the face of all, and the eternal will be there. It's in complete peace, serenity, and equality. Equality means equanimity, sthit pragya. That all is thou. Thou means God here. All is thou, and even as thou art all. And listen to this sentence. And the least vibration in this perfectly pure and calm atmosphere is an obstacle to manifestation of God. So if you are peaceful, the eternal manifests in you. So no haste, no inquietude, no tension. Very difficult. And of course, this is once you restless working is an illusion. Once you step back from these whirling forces into the quiet regions, you see how great is the illusion. Humanity appears to you like a mass of blind creatures rushing about without knowing what they do or why they do, and only knocking, stumbling against each other. And it is this that they call action and life. Mother says it's an empty agitation. No action, no true life. Now, no such presentation can be without any quote from Gita. And I have been reading Arvindo's Gita and some other Gitas, and I could only grasp one of these shlokas, and this is Yogast Kuru Karmani Sangam Tatva Dhananjay Siddhi Asiddhyo Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. And this is, I think, the essence of our talk today and essence of life. And what Swami Chinmayananda has said, Samatvam Yogam Uchyate, equanimity within is the highest yoga, highest spiritual yoga, equanimity within. And what Sri Aurobindo has said, he said, equality is the sign of unity with the Brahman, of becoming Brahman, and of growing into an undisturbed spiritual poise of being in the infinite. And it ends with this, equality is a term of consciousness which brings into the whole of our being and nature the eternal tranquility of the infinite. Moreover, it is the condition of a securely and perfectly divine action. What I could understand from this is that when you are sthit pragya, the calmness of the Brahman becomes a part of your calmness, and your vibration and Brahman's are the same, and that is the best state where you can have the most powerful action. So a peaceful action is a powerful action. And equanimity, eternal tranquility, and divine action, they all go together. You become the divine instrument to work if you are peaceful. Peace is so powerful, so effective, so divine. So one of the definitions of peace. So what we have talked now is the power of peace. And now what I will tell you, how you define peace. Each thing has to be defined in life. What is the definition of peace? And one of the definitions given by Sri Aurobindo is act without being identified with their action. That means don't get too much involved with what you are doing emotionally. कि एक पेपर एक क्वेश्चन बिगड़ा और बच्चा परेशान कि इतने इन्वॉल्व हो गए वो फिजिक्स के पेपर में कि फिजिक्स का एक सवाल बिगड़ा और बाकी सब बिगाड़ दिया उन्होंने. You have to keep your equanimity because getting too much emotionally involved with your relationship, with your children, everything will harm you. It is not that you don't do your duty. Do without attachment. Difficult, very difficult. Silence means freedom from thoughts and vital movements. Vital, by Sri Aurobindo says, is emotional movements. Movements means the beginning of irritation, beginning of गुस्सा अंदर से आना जो शुरू होता है, that is what mother has called a movement inside. What is equality? A calm inner poise of the spirit. Now this is a very interesting, very good, impressive definition of equality, equanimity, or sthit pragya. It means a quiet and unmoved mind. And vital means your emotional part of your system. It means not to be touched or disturbed by things that happen, things said or done to you. All the three things, things that happen to you, things said to you, and things done to you. but to look at them with a straight look. And what is that straight look? The next sentence says that free from distortions created by your personal feeling. Your personal feeling is your enemy number one. It distorts everything. वो आदमी तो ऐसा है, उसने तो ऐसा बोला, अरे वो टीचर तो अच्छा नहीं पढ़ाता है, वो फ्रेंड तो ऐसा है. All these are your personal feelings which distort the reality. Be very aware of your personal feelings. And go through the second para to try to understand what is behind them. It's very important. You must always understand उस व्यक्ति ने ऐसा क्यों बोला मुझसे, मेरा पेपर क्यों बिगड़ जाता है, क्योंकि मैं टीवी के सामने बैठता हूँ. But that second you may not know. Try to understand what is behind them, why they happen. Very important. What is to be learned from them? And this is very important. Why is it that these things happen to me? There's something in you, mother says, some weakness in you. That's why the things happen to you. The equality means, it means self-mastery over vital movements. Vital means emotional movements. And what are emotional movements? Emotional movements of anger, irritation, eagerness to purchase, to shop, greed. These are all emotional movements. So it means self-mastery over emotional movements, anger, sensitiveness. Zara sa usne bola bura maan gaye. Pride as well as desire and rest. Remember, not to let them hold of your emotional being. These things, anger, greed, they hold you so strongly, and then you cannot do anything. Now, my next presentation is how to develop this inner peace. How to develop. So powerful it is. It's so difficult to develop. Mother has given very simple steps, very simple, and let us go through this. One is meditation on a sentence. Second is affirmation. Of course, faith, very powerful. Endurance, gratitude, and cheerfulness. What is meditation on a sentence? Now, mother says a sentence is a thought which has been expressed in words. Now, when you concentrate on a sentence, you get the idea which is behind the sentence. Now, when you concentrate further on the same sentence, what you get now, not the idea, now behind the idea what you get is the luminous force, the power of that sentence. Vivekanand, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Such a powerful, you all know the power behind. So there is a rational behind, there's a power behind a sentence. So you concentrate on a sentence, understand the idea, go behind the idea to understand, to realize. Realize is a better word than understand. Understand is more superficial word. Realize the luminous force behind. And then what mother says is, once you realize the luminous force, you get the power of that sentence in your body, and you get the power to act. Therefore, you might have heard in the history, you might have read, some sentences move a person to do anything, you know. That is the power of these words. So you have to read the sentence, read it again repeatedly, understand the idea, realize the luminous force behind, and once you are in a state to understand that sentence, that force becomes your part of your consciousness, and you develop that force. Therefore, you should not read newspaper. Newspaper will give you all negative forces. If you are listening to the dialogues of TV, it's all giving you negative forces. But why it happens? Because the emotional part of your brain holds of your discernment center, the center which rationalizes, you become irrational. So you have to develop a lot of distance between the emotion and yourself, so that कि जब मन करे कि नहीं टीवी देखना है, एक मन का नहीं नहीं अभी रुको, अभी लेट मी थिंक ऑन इट, अभी नहीं जब जाके देख रहे हैं, शॉपिंग करना नहीं रुको, आई विल वेट फॉर 24 आवर्स, कैन आई सर्वाइव विदाउट दिस डिजायर ऑफ शॉपिंग, वो गैप बनाना पड़ेगा आपको. Now, this is the one of these quotations I have taken on faith, you know. Now, read this, just close your eyes and let me read this and understand the power of this faith definition. You can never find anywhere. We have to have the faith that in spite of our ignorance and errors, and weaknesses, and in spite of the attacks of hostile forces, and in spite of any immediate appearance of failure, the divine will is leading us through every circumstance towards the final realization. This faith will give us equanimity. It is a faith that accepts what happens, not definitely, but as something that has to be gone through on the way. तो अगर आपका एक सवाल बिगड़ जाए और अगर आप पहले अटेम्प्ट पे सेलेक्ट नहीं हो पाओ, don't think this is final, this is not final. And if you read it again, we have to have faith that in spite of all our ignorance and errors and weaknesses, and in spite of attacks of hostile forces, and in spite of any immediate, you see, it's any immediate appearance. Appearance is not reality. Nobody can change these words of the Mother Arshi Aurobindo, so powerfully written, and with what a depth of meaning in these words. The divine will is leading us through every circumstance towards the final realization. This faith will give us equanimity. It is a faith that accepts what happens, not definitely, but as something that has to be gone through on the way. This is the most powerful definition of endurance, and this is about Columbus, who set to sail from Spain to cross the unknown seas of the West. Now, for days and weeks on end, in spite of the murmurs of his companions, he persisted in his will to reach a new land. And in spite of delays and difficulties, he would not give up until he had reached the first American islands, and thus he discovered the new world. But the last para is still very interesting. What did he ask of his companions? He asked them only to have patience, for they had simply to rely on him and quietly allow him to lead them. But what did he himself need to reach this goal? He needed the sustained energy and unremitting will that we call perseverance. I have read Vivekananda. Vivekananda has written a lot about perseverance. He says, Vivekananda had said that you can drink the whole ocean, whole sea, you can drink, you should have so much of strength. But I cannot find a better definition than this, which Mother has given for perseverance. But these sentences you have to read repeatedly, because you may not have that software to understand them. To read them repeatedly, peacefully, realize the idea, realize the luminous force, and then let us see that the luminous force becomes active in you. And of course, gratitude we can omit. Cheerfulness is very important. And what Mother has said is the best means of routing the enemy is to laugh in its face. See, you may grapple and tussle for days and your enemy may still show no undiminished vigor. And what are your enemies? Depression, dejection, disappointments. But just once laugh at him and lo, he takes to his heels. A laugh of self-confidence and of faith in the divine is the most shattering strength possible. The most shattering strength. Read this 100 times. The laugh of self-confidence and faith in the divine. There are some more exercises. I may touch one or two and then I finish. And this is one of the first exercises. Mother says, just try for an hour a day. She says, I suggest that every one of you should try. Oh, not for long. It's so difficult. Just for an hour to say nothing but the absolutely indispensable words. Not one more, not one less. Take 1 hour of your life, the one which is most convenient for you, and during that time observe yourself closely and say only the absolutely indispensable words. At the outset, the first difficulty will be to know what is absolutely indispensable and what is not. Very difficult to know what is absolute indispensable, what is not. Next, you will see that so long as one says nothing, it is not difficult to remain absolute silent. But as soon as you begin to speak, always or almost always you say 2 or 3 or 10 or 20 useless words, which is not at all necessary to say. So probably the one of the exercises is to speak less, and you will develop peace. And of course, this is one of the most powerful stepping back. And I may not be able to cover this. And I think this is last few slides. When something in a person seems to you completely unacceptable or ridiculous, it's very common with all of us. वो तो ऐसा है, वो तो वैसा है, उसने ये बोला, उसने वो किया, वो तो. When something in a person seems to you completely unacceptable or ridiculous, what? He's like that, he behaves like that, he says things like that, he does things like this. You should say to yourself, well, but perhaps I do the same thing without being aware of it. I would do better to look into myself first before criticizing him, so as to make sure that I am not doing the very same thing in a slightly different way. But this is very truthful. I have done this. मैं जब मेरा मरीज़ मुझको बहुत परेशान करता है तो मैं अपने आप को उस मरीज़ की पोजीशन में रखता हूँ और मैं सोचता हूँ उसके यंग लड़के को स्ट्रोक हुआ है, कितना परेशान होगा, उसके फादर की एज 55 वो कितना परेशान होगा. तो वो जो मुझसे बार बार सवाल पूछ रहा है उसकी परेशानी कारण पूछ रहा है, और शायद मैं वहाँ होगा तो मैं भी वैसे ही बिहेव करूँगा. बट वी आर वेरी हार्श फॉर अदर्स बिकॉज वी डोंट लुक इनटू आवरसेल्व्स, वी ऑलवेज लुक एट अदर्स. And it continues, if you have the good sense and intelligence to do this each time you are shocked by another person's behavior, you will realize that in life your relation with others are like mirror which is presented to you so that you can see more easily and clearly the weaknesses you carry with you. So next time if you come across a person whom you don't like, please look into yourself. He is a mirror which is probably reflecting what you are. And you have to read these sentences repeatedly, do sentence meditation, what we call it. And the same continues. It's very interesting. Many things irritate you. AC नहीं चल रहा, irritation है. खाने में नमक कम, irritation है. आज उनकी पसंद खाना नहीं बना, irritation है. Take all things which irritate you as a lesson for yourself, and your life will be more peaceful and more effective as well. For a great percentage of your energy certainly goes to waste in the irritation you feel when you do not find in others the perfection that you would like to realize in yourself. The weakness is in yourself, and when you see the same weakness in other person, you get irritated. And perhaps if one carried true perfection in oneself, one would discover it more often in others. If you are good, you will discover the goodness in others. I think this desires is the last few slides. And how much time I have taken? Oh, just few more minutes. This is the biggest problem with all of us, man full of desires. And desires are very powerful. Or mother says that desires are waves of vast sea of obscure lower nature, and they pass from one person to another. Now I give you one example. You go to DB Mall and see how everybody is behaving more or less the same. And you go to a temple, everybody is being more or less the same. You go to a primary school of Vidisha, of Ganj Vasoda, you will find different quality of students. Good quality students, I can say that. And you go to this गवर्नमेंट के जो छोटे से स्कूल है गाँव में, क्या नाम है उनका, जिसमें एंट्री टेस्ट होता है, नहीं जो Navodaya. Oh, you go to Navodaya school, children are different there. And you go to DPS, children are different. Campion, different. All are in same vibrations. So desires are very contagious, and they come from outside. This all of you must know. Each one sitting here is a divinity sitting here, but you are being corrupted by the desires from outside. This is fundamental truth. Men do not generate a desire in themselves, very important, but they are invaded by these waves. Whosoever is open and without a defense is caught in them and tossed about. This is a very important word. Mother says tossed means जैसे कि एक कॉर्क पानी में बहता चला जाता है ना. This is our state if we don't have those defense mechanisms. And you know what these negative vibration do? Two very important thing. They kill your discrimination sense. Then you cannot make out कि सही क्या गलत क्या. नहीं मुझको तो सैमसंग का मोबाइल ही चाहिए. And you will lose discrimination. मोबाइल तो 15,000 का भी काम करेगा, 10 का भी काम करेगा, नहीं आपको सैमसंग का ही चाहिए. You have lost discrimination. And second thing क्या करता है desire is gives you the impression कि तुम्हारे अंदर से आ रहा है, ये तुम्हारे अंदर से नहीं आ रहा है. This is very important. It comes from outside and it captures you. Very important. तो सबसे अच्छा बचने का क्या तरीका है? डीओ मॉल ही मत जाओ आप तो. अगर आप नॉनवेज खाते हो, नॉनवेज रेस्टोरेंट में मत जाओ, आप तो कामत रेस्टोरेंट में जाओ. So try to avoid. This is one of the best defenses. और उस लड़के को फोन ना उठाओ जो आपका आधा घंटा टाइम वेस्ट कर देता है. Avoid, the best defense is probably avoid. In reality, it has nothing to do with the true nature. Similarly, there are other negative vibrations, like jealousy, envy, hatred, violence. But obscure means they come from lower nature, they come from patal lok, you can call it. They come from dark centers and then they capture you and they don't leave you easily. How to control? Very powerful question. The first thing is do not express. Means कि अगर आपको गुस्सा आया तो आप बोलो मत, बिल्कुल मत बोलना. Let desire should not be expressed. This is one of the key ways of controlling the desire. I shall not do it. I shall not move. Even if I have to bind myself hand and feet, I shall not do it. And it is a partial success, but it's a great victory because due to this, next time you will be able to do a little more. Now, this is again a very powerful sentence based on human psychology. जो लोग कहते हैं ना नए वर्ष में कि आज से मैं टीवी नहीं देखूंगा, वो नेक्स्ट डे टीवी देख लेते हैं. पर जो लोग कहते हैं नए वर्ष से कि नहीं आज मैं 5 मिनट कम देखूंगा, वो लोग धीरे धीरे 5 मिनट कम करते चले जाएंगे. So remember that it's little which gives you lot of leverage. Little leverage principle पता है ना आपको, लीवर लगाते हैं, थोड़ा सा दबाए वो तोड़ जाता है. Little change today, over 1 year it will be a dramatic change. And I think the only message is that I shall not carry it. Whatever the cost, I will not express it. Just I will stay like a rock. Little by little, you become powerful and the desires become weak. And then the second attitude is that let me rise above the desire. And let me tell you that people who don't drink, अगर वो एक शराब की दुकान देख लेंगे उन्हें कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. People who don't eat non-veg food, they will not be bothered कि वहाँ कौन सी non-veg की दुकान आ रही है, मैकडोनाल्ड्स आ रहा है, they will not be bothered. जिनका fast है, जो fast रखते हैं strongly, they will not be bothered. So what has happened? Their consciousness has gone above this lower level. They are more safe. But for all of us, people who are weak, the first thing is never express. So the order is not to do it. अगर आप 5 रोटी खाते हैं, आपको वेट लॉस करना है तो 4.5 रोटी कर दें और 4 रोटी कर दें. But do that only, and slowly you will become strong. And of course, how to control? Arvindo has said, if you give expression to anger, you prolong or confirm that habit of recurrence of anger. You cannot diminish or get rid of the habit. The very first step towards weakening the power of anger in the nature and afterwards, getting rid of it, to refuse the expression of the anger. And this is my final message. It's only by remaining perfectly peaceful and calm, with an unshakable confidence and faith in the divine grace, that you will allow circumstances to be as good as they can be. See, we say circumstances control man, but this is not the truth. Man can control circumstances, can change if he is perfectly peaceful and calm. And this is very powerful. You must sugar ke yahi bola karo. The very best happens always to those who have put their entire trust in the divine and in the divine alone. I thank each one of you for your attention and the time given to me. And this is Mr. Rakesh who has put this slide, a beautiful slide. Thank you very much once again. Thank you very much.